One pharmacy group has voluntarily passed on the full $1 prescription discount to all eligible patients on all concessional scripts.
And we will continue to stand by our commitment to make healthcare more affordable for all Australians. So every Australian pensioner, veteran or concession card holder saves $1 off their prescription. That's added up to an incredible $100 million. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
Discounting prescriptions in every store, every day.
Could it be? It is!
That's the face of somebody who wants to be a champion.
Another World Championship qualifier for Shelley Jenica.
Caldwell goes up to her. Oh, won't relinquish. It's going to be one of the breaks.
And welcome everybody to Lakeside Stadium on a beautiful Melbourne night where the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold commences its season in an Olympic year, and the Maurie Plant meeting is an absolute beauty. Tamsin Manu with me. Tamsin, wouldn't be a better place in the world than right here, right now.
No, it's so exciting, isn't it? The first of 12 gold tour meets. It's brilliant that it's here in Melbourne and we have some stars who are getting their campaign away for an Olympic year.
We're going to look at some of those stars in a moment, but let's go over to Dave Colbert for the first time tonight, Dave, and there's a couple of big things happening in the field.
Good evening to both of you. It's a little breezy out here, I have to say, but a couple of the big things we're looking forward to tonight are in the field. This the indicator board for the women's high jump, 2:03. That is the Australian record set by Olympic silver medalist Nicola Oleslagers. Now, 2:03 sounds high. This is how high it is. Now, I'm pretty tall. I'm 194. This thing is set to 2:03. She's already done that. She wants to go 2:04 or even higher tonight. How about the men's discus? Matt Denny. Here it is, 2 kilograms. Think 2 1 kilogram slabs of sugar. This hardly fits in my hand. And the big guy, he wants to throw it 68.43. That's his national record. Bruce?
Great
That's
stuff,
big.
Dave. That really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Tamsin, 4 young teenagers, they lit up Adelaide on Saturday night. They go here tonight. Tori Lewis.
Yeah, Tori, isn't she a star? She's broken that Australian record, the fastest female Australia's ever seen, and look at her go away with that race. She's a big star, and look for her in Paris Olympics.
So she's up against Zoe Hobbs tonight. Cameron Myers, so good in the 1500, goes in the John Landy mile.
Well, the best thing about Cam is he came out and he really blew fields away and he made everybody in the world look at him. But look at what he's doing to the field here. He has stood up and he has come back the year after and done just the same thing. So he is got a big, bright future.
He's 17, Claudia Hollingsworth's 18, breaking the national junior record here.
And what I love about Claudia, she looks so relaxed. She looks like she's got so much more to give. And we've got her running the 800 metres today. So she's dropping down in distance. That was her event, you know, when she was going through the junior ranks. She's still a junior, which is incredible. So she's got the World Juniors and the Olympics to target. And Peyton Craig, well, hasn't he just come out and shown that he's a force to be reckoned with? You know, a triathlete in the past. He's been world ranked at triathlons and he's dropped that for the moment and he's tearing fields apart in the middle distance.
So he's had a couple of national records in the 800. He steps up to the mile tonight. So they're the future in many ways and the present, but what about some of the established stars? The women's hurdles tonight is going to be an absolute highlight, and Michelle Jenica was so strong here last year.
She was. Michelle Jenica has been around for a while now, but she's such a quality athlete and she's come out and she's run sub 13 seconds again, so she's one to watch. But she's got Queen Harrison, Queen Clay now. She's the American and she's represented USA, and Liz Clay's come back from that broken foot.
Stewie McSwain, there's a chance that he could run inside 350 tonight. They're confident that he's in the best form he's been in for a couple of years. He's one of the favourites in the John Landy mile.
Well, that's incredible, isn't it? He's just brilliant, Stuart McSwain, so it'd be good to see him back to his best. And Rowan Browning, of course, can he break that 10-second barrier, that elusive 10-second barrier, and really stamp his authority on world-class 100-metre sprinting?
And here's Sasha Zoya, who was, of course, in Australia, now runs for France. This is the World Junior Championships, breaking the World Junior record.
It's bittersweet watching him run for France, but he's such a star, and I hope the crowd gets behind him because because he is someone who's going to be dangerous come those Paris Olympics.
So some of the big clashes here, Dave, and some of the big stars. You've got your eye on 4 Australians that have done so much already.
There's 4 big names in the field, Bruce, headlined by our Olympic bronze medalist and 2-time world champion Kelsey Lee Barber in the women's javelin. She starts her Paris campaign tonight against 4 quality Japanese throwers and the national record holder Catherine Mitchell, her Australian teammate. In the men's long jump, Henry Frayne, the Frayne train, is having one last rodeo in 2024. 3-time Olympian opened his season with 7.96 2 weeks ago. Hasn't been an easy 6 months though for Henry. He lost his coach Gary Bourne and his mum Anna. There's a quality lineup battling for the win tonight in the long jump premium event, of course, as we know. Nicola Olashagas, we talked about her. How high can she go at Lakeside tonight? Can she break her Australian record? And Matt Denny, well, the Commonwealth champion, has finished 4th in both the Olympics and the World Championships. He got beaten by the New Zealander Connor Bell at this meet last year. He wants revenge.
Good stuff, Dave. Tams and I are joined by the legend Raylene Borley. It's the Maurie Plant Meet. You and Maurie go way back, don't you?
Way back. Maurie was actually my training partner for 72 and did a great job. In fact, to the point where I think he actually sacrificed his education to get to training every day. He was wonderful, really.
And Raylene went on to win 2 silver medals there. One should have been gold. We know all that, Borley, but we'll move on.
Well, what about for tonight's meet, Raylene? Are you looking forward to seeing Tori Lewis compete? She's just broken that Australian record.
I am. The thing that concerns me about all of that, she's running well and she's certainly got talent, but that's a 55-year-old record. She needs to, it's a start. She's got a long way to go, but I like the way she runs, and I think it's going to be an interesting race this evening. I think she's heading in the right direction.
It was your record she broke, and she's had a lot of attention this week. Have you noticed how she's handled that attention?
No, I haven't really seen anything of her, which is a shame because the media should be doing a lot more with our kids.
She's on social media. You and I don't know where to go with that, Borley.
No, what is that? That's another world. That's not our world. But yeah, I think the kid's got talent, and she seems like such a nice young woman. I hope that they don't change her. I hope that they don't let an ego get in front of her, because all of that sort of stuff just stymies a career.
Have you had a chance to meet her? Would you like to say hello to her?
No, I'm actually hoping to meet her tonight. That's why I've come down, really. I'm quite thrilled. You talked me into it, but I'm quite thrilled at the concept of actually meeting her this evening.
Well, you're going to see a terrific night of athletics, Raylene, and it brings back a lot of memories for you, I'm sure.
It's been a long time, Bruce. I don't hang around the tracks, but I'm delighted to be here, and I hope that Sam and David really get this shit together, and so to speak, and it can all happen in the future because it is a tough sport, but it's the best in the Olympics.
Nothing like live sport with you, Borley. Great to see you. We're back with the Maurie Plant Meet coming up right after this, Tamsin, with Dave. Thanks, Borley.
One pharmacy group has voluntarily passed on the full $1 prescription discount to all eligible patients on all concessional scripts.
And we will continue to stand by our commitment to make healthcare more affordable for all Australians. So every Australian pensioner, veteran or concession card holder saves $1 off their prescription. That's added up to an incredible $100 million. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
Discounting prescriptions in every store, every day.
Welcome to beautiful Melbourne on a great night here at Lakeside for the Maurie Plant Meet. Capital of the sporting world, Melbourne. We know that with all the tourist attractions left, right and centre. And we've got a big crowd here buzzing along for the first of 12 World Continental Gold meetings under the auspices of World Athletics. We know what big time sport's like in this city, so Victorian government right behind this is a beautiful Lakeside Stadium. A fantastic setup. As I said, the first of a dozen coming up this year in the Gold Series. Kelvin Kiptum, we have a heavy heart. A remarkable young athlete at 24 years of age who died in a road accident this week. None of us could believe it. His 3 runs were epic. He's the fastest man ever in the marathon, and he leaves us with so much more to offer, but so much to remember. With Tamsin Manu and David Colbert for what should be a special night, Tamsin.
It should be a special night, a very special night at the Melbourne Maurie Plant Meet. Second year. Last year set the tone. Fantastic, fantastic night of athletics, and we certainly have a lot of stars out there on the track and in the field, as you like to mention, Dave, tonight.
Field and track, as we know, Tamsin, and of course this Continental Gold Tour, first of 12 stops around the globe. Crucial world ranking points, which for many athletes, for most athletes, is the route to Olympic qualification. So you can qualify directly or you can get there via the world ranking points, and tonight there's a lot of them on offer, and we've got a big schedule of events, Bruce.
21 countries around the world represented tonight, 70 international athletes here. It is a star-studded group, and it's such a year in athletics, we know that. And to start here, we know this event will go to Botswana in April for the second of them, and we finish tonight with the 5,000, the Peter Norman Memorial and the John Landy Mile, such an integral part of the Maurie Plant Meet, and we'll talk more about those 2 events when they come up. The mile's been set up for something very fast. Terrific crowd still streaming in. Callish night, headwinds for the sprinters so far tonight, a challenge for them.
It is a challenge when it's a headwind, but it is an Olympic year, and it's good for the athletes to get used to all sorts of conditions, because you just never know what's going to come at you at a World Championships or an Olympic Games.
Beautiful setting around Albert Park Lake, of course. In a few weeks' time, it'll be the home of the Australian Formula One Grand Prix. A lot of infrastructure already in place here, but this track is exposed to the elements, so it can be a little breezy, and it is tonight. But it's just on the doorstep of Melbourne Central Business District, and here is the start list for the opening event.
Sasha Zoya not running here. That's a late withdrawal, so the main attraction in the race, but a very good group of Australians.
And Sasha Zoya, unfortunately, a mishap on the warm-up track. Here's the introduction for our first event on the track at this Continental Gold meeting here in Melbourne. It's the men's 110-metre hurdles. In lane 2, the Australian champion, representing Australia, Mitchell Lightfoot. In lane 3, the New Zealand record holder, Joshua Hawkins. In lane 4, world under-20 finalist from Australia, Caleb Willis. Sadly, Sasha Zoya injured in the warm-up, and he is a withdrawal. In lane 6, World Championships representative and last year's winner here from Australia, Jacob McCrory. In lane 7, World Championships representative from Australia, Nick Andrews. And in lane 8, the 8th fastest Australian of all time from Australia, Sam Herwood. There's the lineup, men's 110-metre hurdles.
It's 4 of the fastest 10 Australians all time in the field. It's even. Zoya comes out. Hard to pick the winner.
It is hard to pick the winner, because that's the beauty we have with the Australians that have been competing here domestically last year. They're all around that same sort of mark, and there's a couple of really quality junior athletes who made that World Under-20 final.
Middle lanes are important, but they're right in the middle, of course, vacant now. There is McCrory. Outside of him, Andrews. Runs in the United States a lot in the indoors. He's fast. Almost set.
Away, clean start. Maurie got out pretty well on the right, light foot away well. Willis knocks a couple down up the halfway, but he's right with them early. Herwood in the outside lane. Willis and Maurie together. Maurie coming hard at Willis. Goes up. Oh, Willis, I reckon's just beaten Maurie. He has just out-dipped him.
Well, I think it was certainly Taylor Willis, the 20-year-old from Victoria. He's been running so well in 2024 so far. He's run 3 sub-14 second races, and this was another one that he is going to be pretty proud of. You know, he had some injury issues last year, came off that World Under-20s where he did make that final. Him and Mitchell Lightfoot have had such great races against each other. I think that's what's allowed them to bridge that gap to the senior category so well. It's a little bit messy, as you can see here. Snapping that lead leg down so incredibly fast, Taylor Willis. And I think it's just his power and strength off that last one that got him over the top of Jacob Maurie there in the white.
So the wind's dropped there, and he's equalled his personal best. We've got that officially. We'll check those results in just a moment. Big win for the 20-year-old.
Competes for the Ringwood Athletics Club, which is the same club as Catherine Freeman, who's here tonight in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne and was injured just before the World Junior Championships. Broke his toe in a gym accident and only just made it to the World Juniors, but he's a talented athlete and he's made the most of that opportunity without Sasha Zoya in the field tonight. So that's a good run, and as we'll say a few times tonight, the world ranking point's so important for these athletes that are on the cusp of making it to the Olympics, and we'll see that throughout the year, athletics-wise, wanting to get to Paris via the world rankings.
So a thriller on the 110 hurdles. Earlier tonight it was a men's 100 metres. Away, Browning pretty good, has a party right with him early, and so's Penny and Sultana. Browning trying to establish some superiority. He does for the moment. Sultana late, Browning just. Sultana.
So here we are with the flying mullet, Rowan Browning, 10:34. Probably not the way he wanted to start this evening time-wise, but it was a win. Rowan, talk us through it.
Yeah, look, it's super pedestrian time, so I'm not happy with it, but been looking forward to this meet all year. It's the best meet on the calendar. Crowd's great. Love running down here in Melbourne, so I'm looking forward to the 200 later. I'm
going to ask you, the Peter Norman 200, this time last year, you pushed Fred for 120 metres. You look superb. Same attack tonight, obviously without the world's fastest man at the time, but we're going to see you hammering around that bend.
Definitely, that's all I know. Just run it as hard as you can for the first 50 and try and set it up and hold on from there.
All right, later on this evening, look forward to seeing Rowan Browning of the 200 metres. Thanks, Rowan.
So the results of the 110 hurdles, so equaling his personal best, Taylor Willis, the 20-year-old, Jacob Maurie getting back into good shape, and Mitchell Lightfoot, who got a reasonably slow start for him, but has held on well, not far behind Josh Hawkins from New Zealand. Results of the 110 hurdles. So Willis on the rise.
He certainly is, and he's actually a really big social media star around the world. So I think he will be enjoying this, and there'll be quite a bit on his socials after this.
Women's long jump in operation down the back straight. They are benefiting from quite a nice tailwind, and this is Brooke Bushkuhl, who is the World Championship and Olympic finalist, the Australian record holder, led the world rankings in 2022 with that 7:13, which was the Australian record. She's got some good competition here. Her countrywoman Samantha Dale won this meet last year, but coached by her father Russell, just on the right-hand side there. They've been a great partnership, those two. Long career now for the 29-year-old. 7th in Rio and in Tokyo in 2020, 2 times the Commonwealth Games silver medalist. Craig Hilliard alongside as well, the experienced Australian coach, mentor for Russell, and also Brooke. But the conditions are pretty good. We saw the triple jump earlier. Connor Murphy jumped 17.87, the youngster. It was wind assisted plus 2.6, but that was a good jump to win the bronze level triple jump. Anna Grimaldi is the para athlete, T47 from New Zealand, twice a Paralympic gold medalist. So she is in action also on the back straight. The winds can be tricky here at Lakeside. So getting the run up right can be a little tricky.
We'll talk about Paralympic royalty on the screen right now. Dave, Grimaldi, who's looking to go for her 3rd Paralympic long jump title, which would be an incredible effort for the New Zealander.
Well, Vanessa Lowe there, the T61 amputee athlete who beat her own world record in Canberra recently and will go to Paris with very high hopes. Kaylin Joseph's a T38 athlete. Came 5th at the Commonwealth Games in 2018 in the long jump. All of these athletes looking for Paralympic qualifying performances. I tell you that Bushkull's leading that long jump with 6:51 ahead of Dale at 6:50. We knew it'd be tight. They're currently in the 5th round. And of course, multidiscipline situation in the para event with Grimaldi. He's got the longest jump so far of 5:51. Low 5:15. Now, that's better than what was the old world record. That's awaiting ratification, but the 5:15 plus 1.2, pretty strict criteria for ratification of those para records. So that 5:15 is a good jump. Approaching that 5:33.
So, Dave, our next event in terms of the women's 100 hurdles, and what a lineup we've got. We've got a couple of clays here. I might have to just call a queen at one stage halfway through the race, but this is so even with so many runners in good form or running into that form.
Well, isn't it fantastic to see Queen Clay, who you mentioned, the 35-year-old. She won the 400-metre hurdles. She is 3rd from the left there in the all-black outfit. She ran the 400 hurdles at the 2008 Olympics, and she wants to make the 100 hurdles at these Olympics for USA.
You can see those times, Japanese record holder, etc., etc. Not much between the fastest and those below her. Just in the starters' hands for the moment, just getting themselves organised as we're about to go through the lineup here.
Introducing the field for the women's 100-metre hurdles final. In lane 1, the national record holder of Luxembourg, Victoria Rausch. In lane 2, Tokyo Olympic semi-finalist representing Australia, Liz Clay. In lane 3, the national record holder from Japan, Marco Fakube. In lane 4, World Championship semi-finalist from Canada, Michelle Harrison. In lane 5, Asian Games bronze medalist from Japan, Yumi Tanaka. In lane 6, World Championship semi-finalist from Australia, Michelle Jenica. In lane 7, World Championship finalist from the USA, Queen Clay. In lane 8, World Championship representative and coached by the meet record holder, Sally Pearson. From Australia, Hannah Jones. And in lane 9, World Under-20 semi-finalist from Australia, Danielle Shaw. The lineup, women's 100-metre hurdles.
3 of the 5 fastest Australians ever, Tams, and 4 of the fastest 8. Jenica dominant last year, but with Clay alongside of her, who's had so many great runs with Sally over the years when she was Queen Harrison, didn't she?
Definitely, it's a quality field, and it's going to be one of the exciting races of the Maurie Plant Meet.
Clay coming back, the Australian Clay, in lane 2 after the dreadful injury in Eugene, which took her out of the World Championships last year, but this is an Olympic year. Michelle Harrison of Canada. There's Jenica. Start important here. Not much between these outstanding athletes. One of the highlights of the night, women's 100 hurdles. Almost set. Let's see how quick Jenica is. Who gets to the first? Probably Clay of Australia. Jenica right up with her. Queen Clay just behind her. Knocking it down, Roush. Clay's in front of Jenica at this stage. Liz Clay's going to have a huge run. What a comeback. Beats Jenica and Clay third. So it was Liz who's the queen tonight.
Well, take the time out of it. That was just a fantastic comeback race from Liz. She did break her foot at the 2022 World Championships, broke her heart. We saw those scenes of her devastated on the track, but watch her second from the right, quick to that first and really snapping that lead leg down, and the trail legs coming around really nicely. She just needs that confidence back, because we're talking about an athlete who only just missed that Tokyo Olympic final by 0.04. She's a quality athlete and she's beaten a quality field. Let's have a look at Jenica and the other Clay in the field. Just a little bit of tension through these athletes. It is early in the season. They're trying to get their stride patterns and their hurdling right over those hurdles. Getting a little bit close at the back end of the race. Liz looked very happy with that one.
So about 13.02 rounded out to, and about 13.12 for Michelle Jenica.
Maurie was very, very unhappy with the wind. He's had a word upstairs, and that was a tailwind. So we've sorted out the breeze, plus 0.3, so that is good news.
Great news, and what a win it turned out to be. She always looked the winner.
She did from the gun, didn't she? You could see that the Japanese athlete Fukube reacted really well. So it meant that Liz had to come with her through over that first hurdle. She stayed relaxed though, and I loved it. She looked like she'd got her racing legs back. It's been a long road back to this point for poor Liz. We're talking 2022, and she's only now starting to come back to that sort of form that saw her become an Olympic semi-finalist. Queen Clay will be pretty happy with that though, I think, as well. She's come all the way to Australia to have that run. She's got a big season ahead of her. She's a mum returning for the first time after the birth of her first child with Olympic medalist Will Clay. So incredible story, and we're the crowd's very happy to have such a quality athlete here from the United States.
And she finished up in third place, just in front of the Canadian Michelle Harrison. And let's go back earlier tonight to the women's para 100 metres. Grimaldi got up pretty well, didn't she? So Party 2 to the right. Grimaldi clearly in front of Clark at halfway. Party's having a good run in lane number 3, but Grimaldi's going to win. Now the time's oh so important here for these girls. 12.91. That is a really, really good time. Not that far outside her personal best. Party wasn't all that far away. Clark in the mix with Jordan out wider, but a clear-cut win for Grimaldi.
Yeah, Grimaldi ran absolutely brilliant then. She got out well, she was relaxed through the middle phases, and she certainly stamped her authority on that event. She's a double gold medalist in the long jump for the Paralympics, and she'll be after her triple, and I think she'll be...
So a busy night for Grimaldi. You've just been calling her on the long jump, Dave, over there with some tailwinds, so that wind, as you say, abating a little. So a good night, a really good night for the New Zealander. And there's the result. So Clay in the season's best. It's early, we know. Jenica at 13.12, Queen Clay at 13.16. So they make their mark. Here's Bushkill in the long jump.
So currently leading, and a little over rotation on that occasion. Has had some issues with that in recent times. So earlier this evening, before we got our main program underway, women's javelin competition. Momomo Ueda of Japan, bronze medalist, the Asian Championships, World Champs representative, 61.75, her lifetime best. She finished in third spot tonight, 57.15. The New Zealand record holder, Tori Peters, 6 times national champion. And we're throwing into, with the slight breeze down the middle of the field here, the winner after Peters' 57.35 was Catherine Mitchell, the 41-year-old, 3-time Olympic finalist, Commonwealth Games medalist, gold medalist from the Gold Coast. She took out this competition 62.12. Brilliant effort from the 41-year-old. And Kelsey Lee Barber, 2-time world champion, was in 7th spot, 54.59. So a win for Catherine Mitchell of Australia. in the women's javelin.
It's incredible, the Australians in the women's javelin at the moment, to have 3 in that World Championship final. They're really strong in that event, and they will be looking to make the final in Paris and have 3 of them there, won't they?
Mackenzie Little not here. She's just recently completed her medical degree and is a bit busy patrolling the wards as she commences her career as Dr. Little. But there's confirmation of the results in the women's javelin here. Catherine Mitchell, 41. What a great throw. 62-12 ahead of Tori Peters of New Zealand. Ueda was the best of the strong Japanese lineup. And Kelsey Lee Barber, as we know, she's a slow starter in her year, 54-59. But one thing we do know about Kelsey Lee Barber, when the big meet's on, she's generally throwing her best.
She does, and Catherine's remarkable. You mentioned her age. I remember seeing her in Eugene. There's Brooke there. When she felt like that was it, we thought we might have seen the end of it. It was a glorious career, and here she is charging on towards Paris, hopefully.
Just to confirm those results in that women's long jump, Brooke Bushkuhl got the win by 1 centimetre, 6.51. Her second round jump was quite a good tailwind, plus 2.8 ahead of Samantha Dale, 6.50. They've had some great battles. And a youngster from New South Wales here in Australia, Delta Amadrowski, who's a brilliant hurdler and also long jumper. She was in third place, 6.26. So we go back and have a look at Bushkuhl. So she'll be happy to get the win here. There's a lot of issues with her celiac disease and gluten intolerant, and some days it just doesn't work for Brooke, but today that's a much better performance from her, and she will be pleased to turn the tables on Sam Dale, who won this event last year. Again, those world ranking points crucial for entry to Paris.
They're building up a good rivalry, aren't they? I mean, I know they're a fair way apart in terms of their experience, but there's a good rivalry going on between the two of them.
Well, and that's so important for a country like Australia that's so far away from the rest of the world. If you can get that good head-to-head competition domestically before those athletes get on the plane to compete overseas against the world's best, it does help them prepare a lot better. They don't have the luxury of being in Europe or America and competing against the top-notch competition every weekend. So to have the competition here domestically, it'll set them up well for that European season later in the year.
High jump, Dave. So a big highlight tonight. Hamish Kerr's come over from New Zealand, but it's the women that perhaps we're most focused on, with Nicola Oleslagers, who's been in, well, sparkling form to start the season, hasn't she? Here's the men's results so far. They're on and off in a bit of a hurry. They're up to about, I think that might have been the start list, and we'll get a women's as well. But Oleslagers in Canberra really caught our attention, didn't she?
So here's the start list for the men's. Yuval Reith, interesting competitor, born in Sudan, now lives in Ballarat in regional Victoria. A couple of hours here from Melbourne, 2:25, his season's best. Shino of Japan, 2:31, and as you mentioned, Hamish Kerr was the first New Zealand male to win the Commonwealth Games. And it was in Birmingham, that 2:33. So these athletes will be looking for something in the high 2:20s or potentially 2:31. And as you mentioned, that women's high jump where Erin Shaw is a World Junior Championship 4th place getter, but Nicola Oleslagers already has jumped 2:03. And a couple of days later, Yaroslava Mahuchik said, I see your 2:03 and I give you a 2:04. So they're in business already.
And that's one of the great rivalries. Eleanor Patterson won 93 overnight, so that's good over in Europe. Here's the men's para 100 final tonight. It was a beauty. Away, got out well. Paris led early from Page and Turner. Going well is Jason over on the right of screen. Paris has got a good lead on Page, though, with about 30 to go. And Paris is going to come through and win. Page second, Jason comes through in third place.
So we heard Bruce there give us 11.03 into a minus 2 metre headwind there, Chad. Talk us through the race.
Yeah, I don't think I got out of the blocks as well as perhaps what I could have, but yeah, I knew there was going to be some pretty strong headwinds today. Out here to put on a good show for such a big crowd, great atmosphere out here. So yeah, I'm just out here having a good time.
Now, Chad, it must feel great, though. You've run your 10.69 this season in Canberra. You got the Paralympic qualifier of the way early. You and Maddie B, you're doing great things. You get you like a good bottle of wine, getting better with age.
Yeah, I said to Maddie this week that since my career is only about 2 years old at the moment, so I'm really enjoying myself and loving my athletics. The Maddie B crew's out here this weekend and, yeah, really loving it.
So again, thanks to our winner of the Para 100, Chad, the White Tiger, Paris.
So much for Chad and us to look forward to. Men's discus tonight and women's discus as well, Dave. You mentioned just the size and the enormity of the task, throwing the big plate, so to speak. And Connor Bell really is making life for Matt Denny miserable in Australia, isn't he?
Well, they've got a pretty good relationship, all the discus throwers, and Lawrence Okoye's actually out here, the man from Great Britain, training and living with Matt Denny, and he said there's Lawrence in the maroon tights there, and he's thankful that Matt's welcomed into his home, and they're sharing a few secrets. Darcy Miller's the talented youngster from Australia, again, Japanese athletes featuring throughout the night. But Connor Bell, well, he won the meet here last year with a New Zealand record. It was actually held in Geelong last year, the day before, at John Landy Field, an hour down the road. But Connor got the better of Matty in Adelaide on the weekend, 65.93 with a meet record. And I have to tell you that Matt Denny, he punishes a golf ball with the long drive. He can hit it over 400 metres when he's at his best. And he gets a bit angry when he sees that golf ball, and he was a little angry at not winning in Adelaide, and I think he'll be looking for some retribution tonight. Women's discus has got a deep field as well, but that men's will probably be the focus of our attention tonight, and it's not too far away from getting underway.
And Denny's consistency is the key, isn't it? He goes to the major championships, he gets either a personal best or close to his personal best. He's been able to compete at the highest level for a fair while now, and it was a big breakthrough in Eugene at that incredible Diamond League meeting over 2 days after the World Championships in Budapest last year, where he was able to take the scalps of so many that had the edge on him.
Definitely, and I think for Matty Denny, just getting that victory over those athletes at a time where it counted is something that he'll take into these Olympics with a bit more confidence, to know that he can beat them in the big occasions, because to finish fourth twice in a row at major global meets is a little bit heartbreaking. It's still an amazing effort, but he's desperate to come home with some silverware.
Two high jumps going simultaneously here, and I like it at the top bend. So the men's height of the bar 209, height of the bar, and the women's high jump is 180. In fact, 213 we're up to now in the men's, and you can see the standings there. Yuval Reith, 226 in Ballarat. It's a good jump. Joel Baden's been an Olympic representative. So the four athletes clear at 209. Roman Anastasios heading the list, the Australian. And the women's high jump, well, we would expect to see Nicola Oleslagers come in a lot later, but at the moment 180, and we're still on first attempt clearances there. That old grandstand there, this used to be a local AFL ground, VFL I think it was called back in the day, Lakeside Oval, and it's a famous old grandstand that now houses the Victorian Institute of Sport. Aaron Shaw, the 19-year-old, coached by Alex Stewart, who coaches Eleanor Patterson, 190 lifetime best, fourth at the World Junior Championships. So burst onto the scene a couple of years ago, Tamsin, Aaron Shaw, and young athletes, they take a little while to grow into their careers, and she's got all the capabilities required to be a top-class high jumper.
Definitely, and it's another one of those things where the women's high jump in Australia has just really taken off, and so you've set that bar so high, the two athletes who are World Championship medalists, that anyone who is out and able to compete against them, as soon as they make an Australian team, they're well on their way to being global finalists.
Nagisha Takahashi of Japan, the 24-year-old, has already jumped 186 indoors this year, five-time national champion. And 186 indoors was a personal best from her, and you can see why, because that's a good clearance. So after opening at 171, she is now clear all the way through to 180, and that was a nice clearance from Takahashi. Discus underway. Wherever you might be watching, you can follow the results here via Roster Athletics. If you go to Roster Athletics and search the Maurie Plant Meet, you can follow the round-by-round progressions. You can get the times as they come up, as we see them here in the stadium. Opening round of this men's discus, Yagumi of Japan 56-15, Darcy Miller. In fact, that's a throw of Yagumi close to his personal best. So Lawrence Okoye will be next into the circle. Huge personal best of 68.24, the 32-year-old Olympic finalist from London. Broke the national record at 20 years of age and then left to play in the NFL. Was mainly in the training squads, but was part of the San Francisco 49ers outfit. He was part of the training squad for a lot of clubs, actually, so he had a lot of cards in the race.
Well, maybe that's what the 49ers needed.
Chicago Bears, Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, New York Jets. He had a few, but he would have been watching the Super Bowl with interest.
Yeah.
They could have done with him on the final play.
I think so. I think that was the main difference right there. They needed the discus thrower.
So 56.83, and Okoye goes into the lead.
So women's 800 not far away. In fact, they're about to be called up for this event. One of the highlights of the night. Got the top 6 from Adelaide, plus Georgia Griffith, and plus 2 women that ran in the 1500 in Adelaide and ran personal best. It's about as good as this country couldn't put together. And you add in an American as well. So a fantastic lineup. And Caldwell beat a first-class field by nearly 2 seconds. It was hard to believe, Tamsin, wasn't it?
It was an incredible race. Now, Caldwell's one of those athletes up and coming in Australia, but she's not going to have it all her own way. The USA athlete, Brooke Feldmeyer, sub-2-minute runner at her best as well.
So we're about to be introduced to the athletes in the 800 metres.
Well, you mentioned that we have got a stellar lineup here. You can see Abby Caldwell on the screen, bronze medalist at the 1500 metres at the Commonwealth Games in 2022. Morgan Mitchell in front of her, who was a 400-metre runner at the 2016 Olympics and stepping up the distance to 800.
Introducing the field for the women's 800 metres. We're going to start on the outside. In lane 8, 3 times NCAA finalist representing Australia, Imogen Barrett. In lane 7, we've got our pacemaker, Helen Pretorius from the ACT, and inside her, the Australian 800-metre record holder, Katrina Bissett. In lane 6, the Australian under-20 record holder over 1,500 metres from Adelaide, the 18-year-old Claudia Hollingsworth. Sharing lane 5, 2 of our best 1,500-metre runners, the Australian 1,500-metre record holder and Tokyo Olympic finalist Lyndon Hall, and World Championships 1,500-metre finalist from Oregon, Georgia Griffith. In lane 4, Olympic and Commonwealth Games 400-metre representative, stepping it up to 800 metres, Bendere Aboya. Sharing lane 3, Pan American Games finalist from the USA, Brooke Feldmeyer, and dual Olympic representative, Morgan Mitchell from Australia. In lane 2, Commonwealth Games bronze medalist over 800 metres from Australia, Abby Caldwell. And on the inside, 2018 Youth Olympic Games medalist from Australia, Jayla Hancock Cameron. A cracking field, women's 800.
So Caldwell the favourite after what we saw in Adelaide, but Hollingsworth was just as impressive, Tamsin, over the longer trip.
And you would expect Katrina Bissett to come back stronger after that opening race.
Pace hoping to go through in about 58 seconds.
which is good. That sets it up for a sub 2 minute time. So 58 seconds is actually a time that every athlete in this field is capable of. So it might be a little bit congested down the back straight at the crossover.
So away in the women's 800, Barrett, well, there was some unsteadiness. There was some unsteadiness out wide, so back they come. So hopefully everything all right here.
Well, it looks like it's going to be an unsteady for the field, but it's something you don't see a lot in the 800 metres. You can see a few smiles from the athletes. I think that's the only way to do. You go back, you reset, but you have a little bit of a wry smile on your face because, you know, I've got to do this again. I think they just wanted to get that one underway, as we see. Just a little bit of movement out there in lane 7, where we have Katrina Bissett, the national record holder of Australia, and the pacer, Helen Pretorius, which is a good sign. Bissett wanting to get the action underway.
3 of the fastest 5 ever in the race for Australia. So away cleanly this time. Barrett, Bissett, Hollingsworth, Hall, Griffith, Aboya, Mitchell. That's from the outside in. Feldmeyer, Caldwell and Hancock Cameron. So Caldwell and Aboya going forward. So where's the pace? Aboya leading at the moment, coming across. Now the pacemaker, Pretorius, trying to get up alongside. So Bindari's gone out really hardy, hasn't she?
Well, I think she's shown that she wasn't happy with the way that she ran that race in Adelaide last weekend, where she sat off the pacemaker. She is now beating the pacemaker. She's gone out very quickly. She has a 52 low second 400 metres to her name this season. So we know that she's got great speed, and she looks still comfortable at this pace. And if you feel good, you might as well go for it. She doesn't want to have any negative thoughts after this race.
So Helen's job was to get them through in 58, and now finally she gets to assume that role. Aboya second, and then Bissett, Hollingsworth, Hall pushing up hard, Caldwell towards the back, but well placed, but coming through. It's pretty quick, it's 57, so Aboya's done most of the work.
She has, but I think well done. 57.11 is what you're going to have to do in international races, and this is an international race, so she's stepped up and she's hit the pace and she's set the tone, so great job, and she's coming into that back straight. She's still got a 7 metre lead over Katrina Bissett, the Australian national record holder, who is closing that gap.
Hollingsworth and Hall behind those, and also Caldwell. So the big 4 sitting on Aboya here, so that gap closes. Bissett's about to go up. Caldwell, Hollingsworth has Caldwell in her sights, and then Hall. They've got 200 to go in the 800. Watch for Caldwell and Hollingsworth late. Bissett's done some hard work. Caldwell's 1.5 metres away. Hollingsworth 1 metre away from her. Aboya drops back to 4th. Abby's about to strike the lead from Katrina, and now Claudia comes to the outside and challenges hard. Caldwell and Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth goes straight past her. How fast will this be? It'll be an Australian junior record, you reckon? Yes, it is. She's inside 2 minutes. The future of the sport in many ways. Caldwell in second place. What a run.
Wow. That was incredible for the youngster. The 18-year-old Claudia Hollingsworth has just broken 2 minutes, the barrier for the first time against a quality lineup. Absolutely ecstatic with that run, as she should be. It was the way that she held her form through those closing stages. She looked like a mature athlete with the way that she finished that race off. Absolutely incredible.
Abby did everything right, absolutely everything right. Bendari was the big surprise, to go out so hard and go through in 57 seconds and basically say that she had no interest in the pacemaker. Here we have a lap to go. Hollingsworth well placed. Caldwell's on her shoulder at this stage.
Yeah, no, Bendari and Claudia Hollingsworth actually train alongside each other under Craig Mottram, the great distance runner from Australia back in the day. You can see here Bendari's just gone out a little bit too hard and she's paying for it here, but you don't give out medals at this time of the year, so she'll have got a great training run out of that. Bissett ran brilliantly. She did everything she was supposed to do down that back straight, made the move at the right time. Again, a better run than Adelaide. She'll be happy, but it was all about Caldwell and Hollingsworth here. You thought that Caldwell was going to go away with it. She gets a bit messy and ragged at the end, but look at Hollingsworth's form closing that off. How is she still a teenager?
She's taken 1 second off the Australian under-20 record tonight. Let's go down to Nick.
Claudia Hollingsworth. I've interviewed here as a schoolgirl running for Mentone Grammar. Tonight you've just taken down the national record holder, last week's winner in Adelaide. You were beautiful in Adelaide over 1500, but tonight the 800's yours, sub 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I expect that at all. I'm just so happy to finally break 2. Been training really hard and just came out here with no expectations, just stick on the pace and just see how it goes, and really happy with the result.
Talk us through the race. Your teammate and training partner, Bendiri, she actually made the pacemaker work so hard for the first lap. She made it really tough. She set the race up for you probably in that pace. What's it like with the new on-stable?
Yeah, she's been training amazingly and she took that race out so hard, took on the pace, and credit to her, she did amazing, and it really made the race go fast and just bring us through to that quick time. So amazing job to her and everyone who else raced, and yeah.
Well, Claudia Hollingsworth, we look forward to following your journey on the way to Paris. You're also eligible for the World Under-20s this year. It's a big year ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the 800, sub 2 minutes for the first time, Claudia Hollingsworth.
And moves up to number 7 on the all-time Australian list. So it's a huge breakthrough. The big record in Adelaide on Saturday night, 4:04 for 1500. And there it is. So it's an Australian under-20 record. It's 1 second quicker than the previous record.
And even though targeting an Olympics as well, but that World Under-20s, still want to erase the memory of where she was disqualified in that semi-final and was a big hope for a medal at the last ones as a double underage. So she's started this season off brilliantly, and look for her at 2 championships, major championships this year.
Good runs by Caldwell and Bissett. Hall not far away. Feldmeier better here than she was in Adelaide. And then some strong times behind the top 5 runners. It promised a lot and it lived up to all of it, didn't it?
Just shows you the importance of those world rankings once again, because the direct Olympic qualifiers 1:59.30. So that's a serious run in any estimation. And the very good news for you, Tamsin, is that your meet record, which you hold alongside Tony Hodgkinson from New Zealand, 1:59.42, survives for another year.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it get broken by this quality field that we just saw.
5,000 metres for women. So Jess Hull has the qualifier. She's doing some incredible things on her way to the World Indoors at the moment. That 8:24 captured everybody's attention in Boston a week and a half ago. So here's the lineup. Matt Doyle, of course, the big marathon in Valencia. Davies, Fane Ryan won the steeple Saturday night. Jen Gregson, what a story. What a story after Tokyo. And then the Valencia Marathon. Maybe a 4th Olympics for her, this time on the roads. McCann, a PB in Adelaide. Rule, Skyring, very good in Adelaide. Mabratu, the youngster from Ethiopia. Eloise Wellings, what a legend she is.
Absolutely brilliant field that we have assembled here for the women's 5,000 metres. But Eloise Wellings, you're right. You know, she's been an Olympic finalist, double Olympic finalist at 5,000, 10,000 metres in Rio, so a quality athlete. The marathon selection for the Australian team is going to be very difficult because there's a lot of quality athletes running very fast times. But we can see there's Jane Gregson coming back from not only that horrific injury that saw her wheelchaired off at the Tokyo Olympics where she ruptured her Achilles, but also coming back from a far happier memory, giving birth to her first son with fellow Olympian Ryan Gregson, who's running later tonight.
Yes, he is in the men's 5. I think he's part of the pace there, Tamsin. So we're about to go through the featured runners in the women's 5,000.
A lot of these athletes have come back down from Falls Creek high altitude training. Introducing some of our featured athletes here in the women's 5,000 metres, and we will start on the outside. Representing Japan, 2-time national champion Tomoko Kimura. In position 17, 17-time Australian representative, running the Osaka Marathon in 10 days' time, Eloise Wellings. Position 14, World Championship representative from Australia, Natalie Rule. Position 9, 2-time Olympic steeplechase finalist, 2:23 marathon in Valencia, Genevieve Gregson. In position 5, Tokyo Olympian representing Australia, Rose Davies. And in position 3, Tokyo Olympic 5,000 metre representative from Australia, Izzy Bat-Doyle. It's a big field, 21 starters, women's 5,000.
Big and even, you would think, with no clear-cut favourite here. Pace will be important just to get it right, around about that 15-minute mark. Don't you love it how they all set their watches and off they go? And all the electronic timing around the place, it doesn't make any difference. So Philippe and Shinazakura are going to do the pace. Philippe for the first part, for the first 1,000, and Shinakura takes them through to 2,000. They're trying to go at 15-minute pace here.
They are, and actually Emma Philippi, who is taking the lead here for the first 1,000 metres, better known as an 800-metre runner, started out as a pole vaulter representing Australia at junior levels. I know 1,000 metres had her quite daunted. She was at actually the wedding of Maurie Plant's son earlier this week, and we were discussing the pace-making duties. It's always quite nerve-wracking stepping out there and pacing such a quality field, but she's doing a great job there right now out in front.
So Mebrado leading the pack, so to speak, with Izzy Batdall just behind her. So Mebrado had 2 very fast runs in the United States before coming to Australia. One of them was against Jess Hull in that 3,000 metres when she ran 8:33. Still just at the tender age of 19. You can see her there, the Ethiopian. The tall figure of Wellings, who had the most remarkable Rio Olympics, didn't she? Both in the 10,000, in the heat of the day when Anu broke the world record, and then came back in the 5,000 as well.
Which, if you followed Eloise Wellings' journey, it was incredible in itself, because she was the athlete who missed 3 Olympics before she made her Olympics. A talented junior athlete that just had so many injuries, and unfortunately just would have probably broken a lot of athletes, but she hung in there and she came back, and so she went to those Olympics and competed incredibly to get the 2 finals. But I think if she wrote a book, a lot of distance athletes should read it. It's a story of perseverance, resilience and drive.
So they wanted to be at 1:48 there, and they were absolutely at 1:48. So this is exactly what they want, 15-minute pace. They've spread out a little. I mean, there's nobody really covering extra ground. Mebrado sits 3rd, and then Izzy Batdall, and then Rose Davies, and then Holly Campbell just behind those. Jen Gregson's up in that first half dozen, so she's well placed.
So discus quickly. We are in the second round here, and Matt Denny foul on the first. Connor Bell, the New Zealander, leads with another good throw, 65-18. Nicholas Percy of Great Britain in second, Yagumi of Japan in third. So Denny, second round of the discus. Approaching the 65-metre mark. So not a bad throw. I'll bring you the distance, Bruce, once we get it, but let's go back to the 5,000.
So we're coming up to the 1,000 metres, and the plan was to be at 3 minutes. So they are going to be just about spot on. So Emma has done the perfect job. Absolutely got it to the end. So off she steps, and Sora Shinazaku of Japan takes over. So now it's Sora's job to get them through to 2,000 metres. Second is Mebrado. Now Mebrado actually takes over with Batdall in third. So the pace is off the back now. So we get down to the race. Now Mebrado leading is Shinazakura.
I think it hasn't gone to plan, has it? When Felipe did the pacing so well, Mebrado's found herself out in front. So I think there was meant to be 2 paces, we can see, but it's just now it's just got to change, and you've got to think on your feet in a 5,000 metres. And Mebrado has been running really well, as you said, over in the USA indoors races. She's the African Under-20 Championship silver medalist over 5,000 metres, so a quality athlete even at the tender age of 19, but was well set up, as you said, by Emma Philippi.
Wellings having a good run here. So Sora's in a difficult position here, the Japanese pacemaker. What does she do? She's supposed to get them through to the 2,000 metres. They wanted to get through that in 6 minutes, but she hasn't been able to get to the front. And at the moment, poor Rose has had to push her away in 4th place. So it might be best if maybe that job was relinquished now.
Maybe, or, you know, we've seen with 5,000 metre races where the athlete who goes to the front can sometimes slow it down. So that's possibly what they're hoping for, that the pace does slow down. But you can see here, if you're getting in the way of the field, Rose Davies really was impeded then, and but she's luckily managed to stay on her feet. Jen Gregson in the light blue colours there is looking super relaxed, as is Eloise Wellings, who even in that marathon in Valencia, I think in that closing stages, was looking fantastic. Just had a few issues, even stopped, and still was able to run an incredible 2:25 in Valencia.
Kimura just in behind Welling. So a little gap, Tans, and you just see that tiny little gap. So the first 7 athletes have got to, 2 to 3 metres over the group. Now, there's nothing to panic about. There's the 7 we're talking about.
Yep.
And then McCann, who ran a personal best in Adelaide at 1500, the Irish runner. Pompani, who's won a Zatopek, tucks in behind her. But there are a little bit of a gap. Skyring, the tall figure of Maurie Skyring, who ran so brilliantly at the Zatopek and ran very well in a personal best 1500 in Adelaide. So 5:26, they're on about 15:05 pace at the moment.
Well, and Skyring's also coached by Craig Mottram, who had that fantastic result in the women's 800 metres. So they've got a great little squad happening there, and Maurie is one, Skyring, sorry, is one to look in this race. She came from Florida State Uni and has moved back into that squad, that successful squad.
So what a mix here, a lot of experience in this league group. A number of these athletes have gone to the roads. Izzy Batdor's successfully done that. Jen Gregson's done that. You mentioned that Eloise Wellings, in 10 days' time's off to Japan again?
Mm-hmm. But Eloise Wellings, look at how she is running. She's tall off the ground, nice high hips, looking nice and relaxed as we see the pacemaker pulling off the track now. Wasn't her night this evening, but Mabrato has done a great job. She's gone straight to the front. She's keeping the pace ticking over, which in a big field, you really need that to happen because you don't want it to be too congested. So to keep it open like this, and you can see that breakaway pack just slightly out in the lead, but it's keeping it in that nice single file, which means that the athletes have that clear run, and hopefully there'll be no incidences while we keep this tempo up.
So there's still around about that 15:05. So 15 minutes is a barrier that so many here would love to break. Wellings has done it, Mabrato's done it, Wellings with that 14:54, but they're the 2 athletes in the field that have broken the 15, so we know they'll kick down a bit in the last lap or 2, so if they can hold this pace, Tams, and they're in a position to get some fast times here.
Well, look at the quality. Look how they're all running. So what you look at in this stage of the race is just to see if anyone's showing a little bit of labouring on the ground, if there's any tension. But all athletes in this lead pack are looking nice and relaxed across the ground. Izzy Doyle, who is in second. You can see Mabrato moving out to the outside, obviously not wanting to take too much of the lead for the whole race, but she's had to go back in because nobody else is willing to keep up this tempo. But Izzy Doyle sitting there in second, a quality athlete, stepped up to that marathon. She's probably one of those ones who loves to run so much, was looking for more distance, always wanting to add more distance into the race, but an Olympian over that 5,000 metres and had a 2:28 marathon debut, which was the fastest ever Australian on debut.
So 7 down
at
to
the
5.
Before tens.
They keep on breaking that. So 6 laps to go in this 12.5 lap 5,000. So the 7 have come down to 5. So there's a gap. Rose Davies in 3rd place there in that league group. So Jen Gregson's still in that league group. Look at Davies 3rd. She's got such a rather unusual style. It's quite a high knee lift. It's a little tippy-toey thing.
A little bit similar to Paula Radcliffe.
Yes.
Maybe if you're going to compare her to an elite international distance runner. Paula Radcliffe, of course, was a Great Britain marathon runner, great on the 10,000 metres on the track as well. So a little bit awkward in her running stance, but still so relaxed, and a national champion, an Olympian. And I think she would be really annoyed, Rose Davies, at the Zatopek, which doubled as the 10,000 metre national championships for Australia. The race did not go the way that she had planned. She got that 3rd. So I think that makes her dangerous because she'll come here and she'll be wanting to prove herself, especially after she ran so well at those World Championships last year in Budapest.
And again, Mabrato offering the lead here to Batdorf. The surprise here is Holly Campbell. Now, her personal best, she's in 4th place. Her personal best is 16 minutes .51. She had a great run at the Zatopek where she was 2nd. She's sitting on about 15:10 pace, and she hasn't broken 16 minutes. So Mabrato, Ethiopia leads, Batdorf, Australia, Davies, Australia, Campbell, Australia, Gregson, Australia, and that's where the medals will come from. They went through 9:04 for 3,000, again around about 15:08 pace.
It's good going, isn't it? Well, you just mentioned Holly Campbell, and she's a typical Australian. I think what the internationals look at Australians growing up like. She grew up 600 kilometres from Sydney on a 13,000 hectare farm named Mundui. Her twin sister, Paige, is also a quality athlete. Unfortunately, Holly made that World Cross Country Championships in Bathurst, but had to pull out injured. That would have been one of her first times to represent Australia at a major level. So she's gone on from that and is running very well here tonight.
Women's discus running in conjunction with the men's here, and our leader is in the circle, Daisy Osakui of Italy. Season's best of 61.57 on her first round attempt for the Italian national record holder. 64.57 last year for that national record, and she is leading ahead of Samantha Hall of Jamaica at 57.27, and Jade Lally, the Brit who's based in Brisbane, 54.78. So they are the top three. You can see the standings midway through round two. Nicola Ollerschlager's women's high jump first attempt 190, shelling peas just to get things underway. And I can tell you in the men's discus it's still Connor Bell lead 65.18. Matt Denny's second round throw after the foul was 62 metres 80.
Mebrado starts to wind this up, so they've kicked it up. The first K was the fastest, but the third K was quicker than the second. Jen Gregson just off the back. You can see the pain that she's going through. What a comeback she's having. Holly Campbell continues to hold on. So it's Mebrado leading, back Doyle, Davies, Campbell. Huge surprise. Gap of what, 6-7 metres to Gregson, and then 40 or 50 metres in to behind those Kimura. So we've got 3 laps to go. If they go through in around about 11.27, 11.28, there's every chance that 15 minutes can be broken here tonight. They're just a little bit outside that, but they'll kick it down.
And it also looks like Campbell is just falling off the back of that top 3. You know, we talk about looking at how they're running off the ground. You can see Jen Gregson's tempo just started to struggle. You know, that marathon training is very different to that tempo that you require in a 5,000 metre. Mebrado has done such a fabulous job at keeping this race ticking over. Izzy Bat-Doyle has not taken her eyes off the back of Mebrado. Every move that's been made, she has been able to cover. And Rose Davies in the 3rd position, still running lovely and relaxed. As you can see, in contrast, Campbell's face is starting to look a little bit more tense. She's looking up at the scoreboard, and that's when it gets a little bit more difficult.
She can just hold on a little. She's going to have a massive breakthrough here, though. As we said, hadn't broken 16 minutes, so less than 1,000 metres to go now in this 5,000 metres, and we're down to 3. Mebrado went to Adelaide on Saturday night, off the plane, ran well, 4:08 there, 8:33 in Boston behind Jess Hull, 14:44 indoors prior to that. She's had a spectacular season already. Won't be easy to get into the Ethiopian team, I think. She might have to go to Hengelo and take her chances. So 12:40, 12:41. They're on about 15:05 pace. Mebrado leads back Doyle Davies, a gap to Campbell, a gap to Gregson.
Well, you'd think the race is definitely in 3 now. When you look at the faces of Campbell and Gregson, they are definitely looking a little bit more tired than the 3 out in front. Does it look like Bat Doyle's starting to move up onto the shoulder of Mebrado? She's looking good. She's gone past her. This is the first change that we've seen in a long time of that lead.
We've only had 3 Australian women break 15 minutes for 5,000 metres. Izzy's PB is 15:04. There's every chance she's going to get a personal best tonight, or so close to it. Rose Davies' personal best is 15:07. Mebrado, we know, has run a 14:44 and a 14:45 outdoors. She still looks pretty good, the Ethiopian, but Bat Doyle made the long run for home with just over 500 metres to go. Rose Davies sits on her shoulder. They've created a great rivalry, Izzy and Rose, and then Mebrado sits on those. So 1 lap to go here. They're around about 15:03 pace. Who's got it in the legs over the last 400 metres to bring it home?
Well, Izzy Bat-Doyle's certainly not going to die wondering. She's going to go for it from here. She went pretty early, but she needed to. She knows that Rose Davies has a great kick, and the 2 Australians have broken free of Mebrado. It looks like it's a race in 2. Izzy Bat-Doyle's got that forward lean, and she is starting to make a bit of a gap.
She is, so 2:23 for her in Valencia. She was 8th in Birmingham in the 5,000. She doubled up in the 10. Rose about to attack, though. 2:50 to go. Davies gets up alongside Bat Doyle. They're 15 metres in front of Mebrado, and Rose has taken over now. Gets a bit of a lead. She ran in Tokyo. She was at Eugene and Budapest, where she ran oh so well and just missed the final. Rose's best time is 15:07. Can she cut into the 15 minutes? Look at the clock. Every chance. Izzy the same. Rose starts to accelerate away. It's tough with 50 metres to go. The clock, the enemy now. 15 minutes is the target. Yep, she's going to do it. We've got another one inside 15. No, make it 2. Another 2 inside 15. Australia go from 3 to 5 in one night, and Mabatu, the 19-year-old, finishes 3rd.
Awesome, and a meet record to boot. Rose Davies, that was absolutely incredible. And Izzy Bat-Doyle, the Australians have gone 1, 2, and inside that magical barrier. Fantastic running, great finish by Rose Davies. She'll be very happy to get that one, the win, because she was brilliant in Hungary, wasn't she, Budapest? And so she'll be after that final later in the year in Paris.
Some great running. Mabatu did so much work, so well done to the Ethiopian. She's had a big part of that, but Izzy to make the long run for home and then Rose to sit on her. And both of them who have gone in different directions, to be honest, in the last 12 months. Izzy to the roads, half marathons, marathon. Rose at 5,000 metres, 10,000, keeping her speed up for the track. And maybe in the end that really held her in good stead tonight.
Well, Rose is still so young, isn't she? So she's still got so much distance running in front of her, so she can move up in distance later. But at the age of 24, you know, she is doing the right thing by focusing on that 5,000, especially after getting the confidence from those World Championships, just missing that final. She now knows that she can mix it with the world's best and she can push for that final and make it in the Paris Olympics. What a great run. Look at, she did everything tactically right. She sat where she needed to. She followed Izzy Bat-Doyle's move around Vibrato down that back straight with nearing the 600 metre to go point. Here it is, you see her move out, follow Izzy's move, just looking relaxed. And even when it looked like Bat-Doyle was going to break her, she was tall off the ground and just ran beautifully to finish this race off.
So the official time, 14:57.54, a meet record. 14:59.18 for Bat-Doyle. Vibrato 15:04.84. And Campbell 15:10.11 has taken 50 seconds off her personal best. So great running here. So that meet record, as we said. Down to you, Nick.
Oh, thanks, Bruce, so much. I've just been joined by the latest additions to the Sub-15 Club, Rose Davies and Izzy Bat-Doyle. Round of applause again from the crowd. Rose, talk us through it. It was a special one there, not just the PB, but Sub-15, really special, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like Izzy and I have been working towards this since like 2021, and I'm so happy we got to do it together because we've put in so many hard weeks training together, and yeah, it's just special to do it with her.
And it's a big meet, isn't it, Izzy? It's the gold label meet going around the world. This is really important on that Paris qualification, isn't it?
It is, but I think the one thing we really focus on is just being better as athletes every year, every season, and you can get a bit caught up in the points and the rankings and the races, but if you just focus on getting better, it does happen. And I'm so happy for us because we went to Nijmegen in 2021, we qualified for Tokyo together, and to go sub-15 together is amazing. And there's really no one else I'd be happy to be out-kicked by than Rose. Like, we've worked a lot up in Falls Creek together, trading off leads and working together, so it's really special to do it with a friend.
So again, meet record holder for Rose, sub-15 for Izzy Bat-Doyle. Ladies and gentlemen, your 5K first and second place getters.
So a real highlight of beautiful Melbourne in the background here at Lakeside. So that meet record for Rose Davies was a special one. It was Sonia O'Sullivan back in 1998.
An incredible record to take. What a great race, and all credit to Vibrato for really taking on the pacing duties and keeping that ticking over, and all the athletes who were lucky enough to be in that field behind Vibrato were rewarded with season's best and personal best. So incredible race at the front, but also incredible race throughout the whole field.
Well done, I reckon, to Emma at the start, who set the first 1,000 metres up so well. So let's go back to the discus, and here's Matt Denny.
Coffees will be flying out the door at Izzy's coffee shop in Adelaide after that run. It was a ripper. Men's discus, Connor Bell still leads ahead of Matt Denny. This is Denny's third round throw. 65.18 is the leader. This one hit pretty well down the middle and approaching the 65 metre mark. It's not going to displace Bell in the lead. So 63.68. Ollerschlagers 196. Not mucking around. 190 first attempt. 196. Bounces back to the diary to write down some notes about what she thought about that one. Getting a little cool here, Tamsin. And so you and I and Nicola have all got our blankets.
Just need some hot chocolate. What a brilliant effort by Nicola. Isn't she just incredible? The quality of the athlete just making 196 look super, super easy.
So she did jump 193 as well in between those two. In fact, that beats Alison Inverarity's meet record 195. Of course, the Australian record holder for a time with Vanessa Ward, Commonwealth Games champion in Victoria back in 1994. So a second of our meet records for Nicola Ollerschlagers. Under the bar in the men's high jumps going up and up and up as well. Hamish Kerr has got the win, the New Zealander. He has cleared 225. Roman Anastasius of Australia was in second, ahead of Yuval Reith. They both cleared 217 as their best, but Kerr has put the bar up to 2 metres 30, I think. And he is at the top of the runway, the New Zealander, World Indoor bronze medalist from 2022, Commonwealth Games champion, Olympic finalist. So a quality jumper coming in here at 230. And just a little tickle, and the bar comes down. So first attempt for Kerr at 230. That is some serious jumping. And like you, Tamsin, I know that Alison Inverarity comes along every year to this meet and hopes that someone's going to beat her record. She's, of course, so thrilled with the performances of both Eleanor Patterson and Nicola Ollerschlagers, but she'll be pleased. She's in the VIP room tonight. She'll be pleased that her meet record has finally been broken. It was set back in 1995, so it's great to see these long-standing meet records being broken.
Well, it is a bit of a who's who in that VIP area of Australian track and field greats throughout the eras. We certainly have quite a few of them in Australian history. Steve Hooker, Olympic gold medalist. Kathy Freeman, Olympic gold medalist.
Sally Pearson comes down to honour her great mentor, Maurie Plant.
And we go from that to another great Olympian in Peter Norman, the race that is named after him, the 200 metres. And on the screen we can see Gout Gout, who is an incredible junior talent that we are really looking forward to seeing here tonight.
Only at 16 you can have a yawn before a race like this, so no nerves at all. So Peter Norman, a legend in Australian sport. You see Rowan Browning here. He doesn't run many 200s. He said earlier tonight after the 100, you go flat out. So Peter Norman, the memorial here. So in 1968, he finished between Tommy Smith and John Carlos in the final of the 200 Olympics. It was the most famous 200-metre race ever run. Only Bolt, probably in Beijing, and Johnson in Atlanta come close to what not only happened on the track but off the track as well at the presentation dais. Let's go through the field.
Here's the field for the Peter Norman Memorial 200 metres. We're going to start on the outside. In lane 8, the Australian under-20 record holder at just 16 years of age, a lifetime best of 20.69, representing Australia, Gout Gout. In lane 7, World Championship semi-finalist from Budapest, representing Japan, Toa Ozawa. In lane 6, World Under-20 bronze medalist from Cali, representing Australia, Caleb Law. In lane 5, World University Games silver medalist, representing Japan, Udal Nishi. In lane 4, Tokyo Olympic semi-finalist in the 100, has already got the win here tonight in that distance, representing Australia, Rowan Browning. In lane 3, Commonwealth Games relay representative for Australia, Jacob Despard. In lane 2, wearing the all-white of Sydney University, the World University Games finalist, Christopher Ayus. And on the inside, World Under-20 400-metre semi-finalist, impressive winner of the Ballarat gift on the weekend. This is Cooper Sherman. That's the field. men's 200.
So Ozawa the fastest. Browning will be quick early. He'll take it to Nishi. Law the second fastest. He's the second fastest ever junior. There's Gout Gout. He's got a faster PB than Rowan at 200 metres.
And he likes Arian Knighton, the American star, and Noah Lyles as well. So big name idols out there in lane 8. He leads that field.
It's a fantastic race. Let's hope the wind's all right. It'll be fast if it is. So Gout Gout, Ozawa, Law, that's left to right. Nishi, Browning, Despard, Ayus and Sherman. So away. Oh no. So was it Nishi that was a little bit out of the blocks quickly there in lane 5? So let's see what the starter says here. I noticed that he got out quicker than Browning, and I was wondering whether Rowan had actually been slow off, but we're about to find out here.
It's that nerve-wracking moment where you know that you might have reacted a little bit. You see 5 in the white shorts and maroony ready top. Just let's see. Yeah, just twitched a little bit. Let's hope it's a green card and they give him the benefit of the doubt.
So he's just 23 years of age. He's a compatriot Ozawa at 21, so 2 young stars for Japan. World student silver medalist last year in the World University Games.
It's unfortunate. You know, Nishi's actually World Uni silver medalist because he closes fast. He knows that he needed to get a great reaction in this race because it's not his go. The first 50 metres isn't his strength. He's a really fast finisher, so he's just chanced it a little bit to try and react. It's early in the season, and unfortunately just twitched and took that leg off, that back foot off the back block. And you're not allowed to do that.
So Browning there. He will go hard on the bend. He'll put it all on the line like he did against French Curley on this night last year, didn't he? He's run so few 200 metres, just his third really in the last 4 years.
And a lot of people have said that it's possibly his event, this 200 metres, but I think he has unfinished business in the 100 metres. But Caleb Law is a big, bright star. Not only has he done brilliantly in junior levels, but he's one to watch for this season because brilliant athlete.
So lane 5 vacant. Here we go. Wind up a bit. You can see that. Away. Clean start this time. So Gout Gout got out pretty well. Ozawa tries to get up to him. Law's had a big bend, and so has Browning and Despard inside of him. And Ayus has run really well into the straight. Browning, Law out wide. Ozawa, Gout Gout behind those. Browning's got away from Law. Rowan's going to put on a show here. Oh, this might be his event. He was really good tonight. Came away. Law, Ozawa behind him, and then a gap to the others.
What a wonderful 200 metres by Rowan Browning, better known as a 100-metre specialist, and to come back and run into a 1.5 headwind again after being a little bit disappointed with his time in the 100 metres, to be able to turn that around mentally, that's the best sign for Rowan from that race. But ran a good bend, was still with the athletes coming off the bend. It was the back end of that race where he opened up and started to really extend that leg stride, and he looked fantastic in the last 40 metres in particular, which is not what we would have expected to say about Rowan Browning's 200 metres.
So he's won by a margin. Back to Oli Schlagers in the women's high jump.
199 is the height of the bar in the women's high jump. It's already got a meet record here at 196. First attempt for the Olympic silver medalist, Nicola Oleschlagers. And the bar comes down. 2 more attempts. In the men's high jump, Hamish Kerr, 1 more attempt remaining at 236.
Let's go down to Rowan Browning after he's winning the 200 tonight, the Peter Norman Memorial.
A light tonight with 2 wins. They've been special wins, not the times you wanted, but the crowd got excited for it. Talk us through that 200.
Well, for me, there's no such thing as an easy 200. It was definitely the hardest 2080 I've ever run. So it was great to be out here, and obviously it's named after the the unprecedented Peter Norman. So
It is an incredible night in Melbourne here. We're honouring obviously Maurie Plant, but in that is the Peter Norman 200 metre memorial. Here are his granddaughters here, Laura and May, to present you with that trophy. What's that mean to you, Rowan?
it's very special. Obviously, Peter's legacy is just well known, and it should be even more well known. So I'm so glad that the event's named after him, to honour him and Maurie in one night. It's pretty good, Woolsey.
Well, congratulations, Rowan, and here's Laura and May to present you with the trophy.
He's a class act, isn't he, Rowan? He really is a class act, both on and off the track. So he was dominant tonight. I mean, he put a space into some very, very good athletes.
He's sitting back a little bit in that back end of the 20 metres, but still throwing his legs out so well and still super relaxed. What a wonderful run. Just such a shame that the wind wasn't on his side, because I think that he could really push for that qualifying time in the 200 metres as well. And that would be great to have him in two events.
Well, he's got that ability to double up by the look of it. Azawa and Law second and third. And then Ayusi ran a great first 100. Gout I thought was good. Very strong late, the 16-year-old. Time slow because they're running into a strong headwind.
But if you look at season's best of what the athletes behind Rowan have been running, the fact that, you know, Gout's run sub 21 seconds, well inside sub 21 seconds, that's a brilliant run, 20.8.
Second attempt, 199, Olleschlagers. Bar comes down, one more attempt remaining. And in the men's high jump, Hamish Kerr getting fractious in the gates as well at 2 metres 30. So here he comes. Final attempt for the New Zealander. No. So he'll take out the win with 2:25. Good 2024 underway already for Hamish Kerr of New Zealand. One more attempt for Olleschlagers, men's and women's discus. In the men's, it's still Connor Bell who leads the way, 65.18 ahead of Matt Denny, the Australian, 63.68. Nicholas Percy of Great Britain, 58.85 ahead of Yagumi of Japan, and then Okoyo of Great Britain. International field, here is Yagumi, currently in fourth spot, round 4. And that's a wobbly one. So the platter not being presented to cut through the breeze. In the women's discus, which is being run in conjunction, so they're going one after the other. It's still Osaku leads from Lally of Great Britain and then Hall of Jamaica, 61.57 for the Italian. Men's long jump is underway on the back straight as well, and Darcy Roper leads 7.86. Nice breeze on the back straight.
So to the John Landy mile. John set 2 world records in the mile here in this very city in 1952 and 53, as we see Nicola there when Landy was chasing the sub 4-minute barrier. So back to Nicola.
Final attempt for Olleschlagers at 199. Would like the support. Wobble, and it stays up. Another meet record, improving on the one she set 10 minutes ago, and now 199. Third attempt clearance.
Exciting stuff. So here's the start list for the John Landy mile. John, as I said, 2 world records here in Melbourne in 52.53. The second man to break the 4-minute barrier when he ran the world record in Turku in 1954. The famous mile with Bannister, Vancouver, and then so important in Melbourne for the Olympic Games in 56. Tanner close to Walker's New Zealand record. Here we go, Dave.
Introducing our field for the John Landy Memorial Mile. We will commence our featured athletes from the outside. Station 13, from Ethiopia, the 17-year-old Johannes Asmare. In position 10, World Championship semi-finalist from New Zealand, Samuel Tanner. In lane 9, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the world champion from 2022 in Oregon, representing Great Britain, the Scotsman, Jake Whiteman. In position 8, the Australian under-20 record holder over the mile and the 1500, the 17-year-old Cameron Myers. In position 7, the 3-time national champion from Ireland, Paul Robinson. Position 5, Australian fastest time on Australian soil over the mile, the Olympic 1500 metre finalist from King Island. He is the king of King Island, Stewie McSweyn. And in position 3, the recently minted Australian under-20 800 metre record holder, Peyton Craig. As Maurie Plant would say, it's the time-honoured John Landy Mile.
A big introduction, a big field, a classy field, hopefully a very fast time. Good pacemakers to set it up. Yokota goes for 700 metres, and then Whiteley takes them to 1,000, trying to hit 1,000 in 2:21. 350 the magic mark here. No Australian's ever broken 350 in this country. We're about to go. Away in the John Landy Mile. So they've got to get the pace right. It's a big field, and there are some quality athletes. And you can see that Yokota's already saying, yep, I'm going to go forward, that's my job. And Whiteley, who had a personal best in Adelaide last weekend at 1500, says, I'm next cab off the rank. They've done it well. Asmari sits in behind them. Whiteman's up there early, you'd expect that. See McSweyn, he's always a little lethargic in the first 50, and now he always works forward.
It was a fascinating race off the gun then. They really sprinted to get that inside running. It was quite rough, and Stewie McSweyn showed his experience there. He let them go, and he's worked around the field stylishly to get into that 3rd position there with free running.
So you can see the 2 pacemakers, then McSweyn in a good spot. I know he's in good form. Whiteman sits on him. Just in behind the Myers. In fact, he's a little wider. And then Asmari. Myers at 17 years of age. Tanner on the back of Myers. Good spot for the New Zealander. So went through at about 58.8. So let's see when they get to 800 what that time is. They need to be around about that sort of 155, 154.
It was quite rough down that front straight. You could almost see Cam Myers he got checked, and he had to really be careful there that he didn't take a stumble. It is really fast, the pace, but it's still quite congested because the athletes in this field are quality. You can see them starting to stretch out a little bit now, which is great because it means that they've all got free running, and we want a fast time from this field.
Peyton Craig is 5 from the back, the under-20 800 metre record holder. Twice he's done that. You'll see him just coming into screen. So starting to spread out. Job done for Yokota. He was going to do the first 700. He lets Whiteley go up. McSweyn looks strong. Whiteman and McSweyn, they know each other oh so well. The 17-year-old Myers, who broke the 16-year-old record here last year. Then Tanner just behind those. And then Keane of Great Britain's in that bunch. Still Craig towards the back of the field. Can he make some inroads? Hunt on the back of Keane. Asmari behind those. And now Whiteley's job. He's got to get them to 1,000 in about 2:21.
Well, he's well on track here. It's probably just a little bit touch under that pace, actually, but Stewie McSweyn's right on his shoulders, and Whiteman, being the quality athlete, he's won a global title before. He knows that McSweyn is in shape. He knows the quality of athlete that McSweyn is, and he is right on his shoulder. But you cannot drop the junior, can you? Myers is right there, and he looks comfortable.
He does. He sits 3rd, right on the back of the world champion from Eugene. McSweyn, Whiteman, Myers. Edwards, first time we've really seen him. He was great in Adelaide. Gets outside of Hunt. Tanner's in front of those. So King Island leads Scotland at the bell. And then the ACT. And then New Zealand. 1 lap to go in the Landy Mile. 2:55. Who's got the strength? Who's got the kick in the last 400?
Well, there's global medalists, and there's finalists, and there's semi-finalists. It's a quality field, and it's Stewie McSweyn leading them into the back straight, but he hasn't managed to drop Jake Whiteman, who is right there ready to strike, and the junior Cam Myers. There's a lot said about him. A lot of the world's eyes are on him.
and he is right there in that third position.
And Tanner sits on his back, and just behind those Edwards. Now the first three slightly get away from Tanner. McSwain leads by a metre to Whiteman, a metre away to Myers. Could Cam Myers come off the back of both of them? 1:20 to go in the John Landy. Whiteman goes up to McSwain's shoulder. Myers still with a bit of a chance here. McSwain and Whiteman. Whiteman's taken the lead. Myers late. McSwain kicks back. Whiteman, Stewie. McSwain's going to win. McSwain wins. It's very fast. Whiteman second and Myers third. And Myers has come oh so close to the fastest time ever run by a 17-year-old anywhere, anytime. Stewie's done it, the king of King Island.
Incredible race by McSwain. How wonderful is it to see him back running the best way that he knows how, from the front with confidence. Cam Myers looked like he nearly tripped over with 30 metres to go. I was worried he'd hurt himself, so I'm glad he's managed to refocus and keep on his feet there, because that was an incredible run by the junior as well. And what I loved about that was when Whiteman came up onto McSwain's shoulders and looked like he was going to go past him, he fought back, stayed relaxed, and got the win. What an incredible race by all the three top athletes out there.
Have we seen a better mile in a long, long time? Have we? It was fantastic. The pacemakers did a good job. Stewie committed himself early. Jake's come down off the one indoor run after the big break. And Cameron Myers tonight is within about 14 100ths of a second of being the fastest 17-year-old of all time in the mile.
So you can see here, Myers nearly stumbled. Something happened there as he tried to get onto the shoulder of McSwain. Wasn't it wonderful how McSwain was able to relax when Whiteman came up to him and almost looked like he passed McSwain, but he stayed relaxed and came back and took that win. I think he's going to take a lot of confidence from that one. He needed that one.
Here's Stewie.
Thanks, Bruce. Stewie, how special it is to win the John Landy Mile at the Maurie Plant Meet in Melbourne in an international class field.
It's a huge honour. Obviously, John Landy was great about sport, and then, as I've said in the media all week, how much Maurie meant to me. So I know he was watching over tonight. I know he'd be proud the crowds were getting in Melbourne for these meets. So, yeah, it's a huge honour to run in a meet named after him.
Talk me through that race really quickly. Jake Whiteman was in there. Cameron Myers, the new kid on the block in Australian terms. But you're back, Stewie. Tell us about the race.
Yeah, I think obviously it was a bit up and down. I think the conditions were tough. Obviously, I probably didn't want to lead that far out. There was a fair bit of headwind coming in that front straight, but I just had to hold back. I knew Jake would come, and then once he got on my shoulder, I was like, we can't let a guy come to our home track and beat us, so I had to run tough that last 100, and I was lucky enough to hold on tonight.
Very special presentation here. Marion O'Shaughnessy's here, very familiar with, President of Athletics International, with the John Landy Mile Trophy. Congratulations to Stewie McSwain. The King of King Island is back.
Well, what an international result here we have. Stewie McSwain, so often part of the big diamond leagues and championships. The world champion from Eugene, Jake Whiteman, and Cameron Myers runs a personal best at 17 years of age. Inga Britson, 3:52.28's the fastest time any 17-year-old's ever run at the mile. Great race.
And for our international audience wondering about King Island, it's a little island between here and Tasmania. It's noted for its cheese, lobsters and beef and middle distance runners. Stewie McSwain grew up on the family farm. Olleschlagers, 2:01, and the bar comes down. So a clearance at 1:99.
Beautiful night.
She's actually got one more attempt left, Bruce. Right. Nicola Olleschlagers, that was her second attempt there at 2:01, so one more to go.
Thanks for that, Dave. So this beautiful sunset over Port Phillip and Melbourne with the Lakeside here. The Grand Prix to be staged in the next few weeks. So here's the lineup: Zoe Hobbs and Tori Lewis. So Hobbs, the New Zealand record holder. Lewis, the Australian record holder, go head to head. The women's 100 metres, we're about to be, here's Nicola now for the final attempt.
Last attempt, 2:01. And close, but not there. But she gets the win in a new meet record. Nicola Olleschlagers, 1:99.
It's a great performance. Meet record, as we talked about, not once but twice. as we take you through the lineup for the women's 100 metres.
Introducing our field, women's 100 metres. In lane 2, Commonwealth Games relay medalist from Australia, Mia Gross. In lane 3, Birmingham 200 metre finalist at the Commonwealth Games, representing Australia, Ella Connolly. In lane 4, World Championship relay representative from Australia, Ebony Lane. In lane 5, fastest ever run in Australia, New Zealand record holder at 10.96. Please welcome Zoe Hobbs. In lane 6, the Australian record holder at 100 metres, the 18-year-old from Australia, Tori Lewis. In lane 7, Commonwealth Games semi-finalist from Australia, Bree Masters. In lane 8, the Australian all-schools champion over 100 and 200 metres, Olivia Dodds. And in lane 9, the Tasmanian record holder over 100 metres, Chelsea Scott. Swifties are ready for the 100.
Swift they will be here. So Lewis, Hobbs and Masters. Fastest ever Australian, fastest ever New Zealander. What are you thinking, Tamsin?
I'm thinking look for Zoe Hobbs, the New Zealander, to be out very, very quickly. And then I think that Tori Lewis will close very fast late. It's going to be fascinating to see which of these national record holders can take the win.
Hobbs so good indoors, so fast early. About to go. Away, got a good start, Hobbs. Leads Lewis clearly, Masters, Dodds got out well. Hobbs clearly in front. Lewis with plenty to do. Can she? She's closing, but Hobbs has got a half a metre and beats Lewis. Set it up early. Establish the break. Such an experienced and outstanding campaigner. Lewis's last 50 was impressive, but the gap was too great tonight.
I think that Tori Lewis will get a lot out of that run. Zoe Hobbs, you know, she's fresh off running overseas in the 60 metres. She got a fantastic start. I think Tori started to come back at her, but just sort of had a little bit of self-doubt creep in, you know, competing against Zoe Hobbs with her newfound speed. She needs to start to believe that she can win. You see Zoe Hobbs, that first 20 metres is just incredible. She's strong through the middle, got nice knee lift, but look at the back end of Tori Lewis. She's starting to run really well now, but it was just too little too late. I think she'll watch this back and she'll realise, okay, I've got to do a little bit more from that 20 metres to 40 metre phase. It's all just a little bit pretty, if you know what I mean. Not enough like urgency through that phase, and then she has it late. But Zoe Hobbs, brilliant run by the New Zealander. She started her 2024 off like her 2023, and she's made her intentions clear. Can she make that final at the Olympics? Just missed in the World Championships, and so will desperately want to make that global final.
You'd think she'll go to Glasgow. She made the World Indoor Final last time. You think she'll go there for sure, and she's been in America running well. Let's go down to Zoe and Tori.
So exciting times we have here in women's sprinting in Oceania. Zoe Hobbs, first one under 11 seconds last year. Tori Lewis, the Australian record just recently. Girls, talk us through that race. Talk us about the competition we have in Oceania now.
It's absolutely epic to have competition just across the ditch, and to kick off the domestic season this way is awesome.
Were you happy with the run tonight? 11.3, cold, minus 1.2. Are you happy with that to open your summer season?
It's a start, and I'm not doing many hundreds this year, so to have a competitive field and come out and get the win, it's all bank it, and it's good leading into the indoor season.
And Tori, you seem to have adapted beautifully to being Australia's fastest woman now. Each race you just look better and better. You're flying home. It's an exciting season ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got that second half of my race done. I just need to get the front half up, and then hopefully I can break it even more.
We look forward to seeing both of you head-to-head for the rest of the Australian summer. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Tori Lewis, Zoe Hobbs, your winner.
Not the first time, not the last time we'll see these two young women battling it out. So that headwind tonight, it's been the bane of all the sprinters tonight. Masters running well, Connolly not far away, that's a good run. Lane, who's had such a good season, and the two youngsters, Scollier and Dodds, all that experience they're getting, and Gross, from an event like this, the women's 100 metres. Seen the best of Zoe here in Australia, haven't we? The 10.97, she went to Switzerland and ran 10.96, but she always comes here and performs so brilliantly.
And how wonderful that we can see such quality athletes, the fastest New Zealand athlete, sub-11 second runner against our Australian championship, Australian national record holder as well.
Women's discus going on, men's discus standings we see there.
Round 5 here at the women's discus competition. Noramoni of Cameroon in the circle. Currently leading is Daisy Osakui still with that 61.57. Been quite a few fouls from Mooney. Got a personal best of 58.53. Silver medalist in the African Championships. There's the standings here. That's going to improve on the 38.42. As we move into round 5. So much better, 54.51. Maki Sato of Japan, World Championship representative. 4-time national champion from Japan. She's currently in 7th spot with 52.85. Connor Bell still leading the men's. Ahead of Matt Denny. Tightening up though, Denny 65.09 in round 5. They've got one throw to come, the big men, as we watch the women in round 5 here. So Sato, will this improve on her 52.85 for the 23-year-old? One of a number of Japanese athletes that have come to Melbourne to collect the gold level points in the Continental Tour. Taryn Kolchevsky, the Australian from Bundaberg in regional Queensland, 3-time Commonwealth Games representative, 3-time Australian champion. So again, foul trouble, 53.03. That one down the right-hand side. Does it stay in? No. In fact, it rearranges the 50-metre marker. So another foul for... There's Dawn Fraser, one of our legendary swimmers.
He's a mentor of Tori through the Sport Australia Hall of Fame here in this country. Wanted to come down tonight, as did Raylene Ball, to meet Tori. And she'd met her before, but she's absolutely thrilled with her progress.
Well, Tori's certainly got some greats around her, doesn't she?
Dawn Fraser.
Wow, one of the greats.
Yeah, the 3-time 100-metre freestyle winner in 56, 60 and 64.
Confirmation of those results in the men's high jump. It was the New Zealander Hamish Kerr with the win, 2:25 ahead of the two Australians, Roman Anastasios and Yuval Reith, and then the two Japanese leapers, Hasegawa and Shino. So 2:25 for Hamish Kerr. It's a great program, that Sport Australia Hall of Fame mentor scholarship program that introduces the legends of Australian sport. You're deeply involved in that, Bruce, and what a great thing for Dawn to come to here tonight and watch Tori. She's a bit of a fish out of water at a track, Dawn, but I tell you what, she knows about high-performance sport and how to produce the goods when it counts.
Dawn and Sir Donald Bradman were the first two inducted, the Don and then Dawn. So men's 5,000 metres, Callum Davies, Sam McEntee, and we've got Jack Rayner and Matthew Ramsden, and a couple of celebrated pacemakers as well here, Tamsin and David. So it's been a phenomenal night of middle distance and distance running, and let's hope we can finish it off here with a one to remember in the 5,000 metres. Big field, there they are, Gregson and Robinson doing the pace. Robinson, the Australian record holder at the marathon, the only Australian to break an hour and a half marathon, and Gregson, the former 1,500 metre Australian record holder.
And wonderful that they're here to do the pace for their mates in this field, and there's a lot of them. Introducing the field, the final event on the track here at the Maurie Plant Meet. It's the men's 5,000 metres. Some of our featured performers, Station 18, the Tokyo Olympian from Japan, Yuta Bando. In position 17, Belgian short track 5,000 metre record holder, Robin Hendricks. Position 15, World Championship indoor 3,000 metre finalist from Germany, Maximilian Thorwith. Position 12, the Australian 10,000 metre record holder, Jack Rayner. Position 11. Stay there, Jack. Stay on your line. No false starts. Position 11, the World Indoor 3,000 metre finalist from Australia, Matt Ramsden. Position 10, the two-time national 5,000 metre champion from Japan, Hiroko Matsueda. Position 8, the Rio Olympian from Australia, Sam McEntee. Position 7, the steeplechaser stepping up to 5,000 from Ethiopia, Gaddafi Adignawa. And position 2, the Australian champion over 1,500 metres and 5,000 metres, Callum Davies. There are featured athletes, big field, 21 starters, men's 5,000.
So the idea, Gregson to take them through in 4:16 at the mile, and then Robinson 8 minutes at 3,000. Away they go in the 5,000 metres. So two good pacemakers, experienced great runners in their own right to do the work here. Ryan Gregson and Brett Robinson in this big field of 18 athletes behind them from many parts of the world. Strong Australian contingent, as you'd expect. Europe represented by Belgium and Germany, and Japan well represented, and Ethiopia. So Gregson to make the pace. His wife Jen ran so well tonight in the 5,000. Robinson sits behind them. So they'll get themselves into around about 64-second laps. That ends up at 13:20 if you can maintain that.
Well, Ryan Gregson, an Olympic finalist in that 1,500 metres in Rio, finished 9th, doing a wonderful job out pacing the field. We haven't seen him for a while out in this position, and it's great to see the Australian back helping fellow Australians and international athletes to hopefully what will be a fast time. Ryan's run a marathon in 2:14, so like his wife Jen has hit the roads since his track career.
To see Matsueda, who's 5 from the back now, the second of the Japanese in terms of time, starting to make his way forward. Bando's already the other Japanese runner right on the pacemakers, so he sits in 3rd place behind Gregson and Robinson. Thurwith is right up there, the tall German. So let's see, they going through in about 1:35, 1:36, so they're right on pace. This is perfect from Ryan so far.
Well, Bando will be wanting to have a good race here, the 27-year-old. He won that national championships for the 5,000 in 2020 before COVID hit, but was able to represent his country at a home Olympics in Tokyo. Be looking to have a good season this season, see if he can push back down to personal best shape. Rory Hunter there, the Australian just on the far side in the middle of the pack. He's a great 1,500 metre runner, has got medals at national championships in 1,500. Is this possibly a move up to the 5,000 because that 1,500 metres is so strong?
Men's discus final round. Into the circle, Lawrence Okoyo. Currently in 3rd spot, 60 metres 37, chasing down Matt Denny and Connor Bell. And that's a foul, so he will remain in 3rd spot.
So 10 laps to go, and again that pace very good from Gregson. Bando, Thorwith and Hendricks are the 3 that are following the pacemaker. So Bando Japan, Thorwith of Germany, so he ran in the World Championships in the heat of the 5,000 metres and was a finalist at the World Indoors in 2012. You see Jack Rayner now maybe starting to make a little bit of a move here. He's the Australian record holder at 10,000 metres, 3rd fastest ever from Australia at this distance.
It's incredible, Rayner's career. So we see Ryan Gregson, the first pacemaker, pull off the track and leave all the pacing duties to Brett Robinson. But Rayner and Robinson were teammates for Australia in the marathon at the Olympics in Tokyo, and Rayner's done the opposite of what most athletes don't do. He's moved back to the track so successfully. So we see Rayner on the outside there, moving up alongside the athletes into that 4th position, looking very comfortable. Bando's looking great too. Hendricks in the 3rd position. They're strung out well, pace is going along nicely. That's exactly what you want to see at this stage of the race.
Matthew Ramsden, the tall figure in the same strip as Jack Rayner, sits on the back of his teammate. What a star he is, Matthew, at many distances. So Brett Robinson, who ran his Australian record in late 2022 in Fukuoka. Famous Australian record of Robert De Castellas from Boston, going so far back. So Robinson doing the work. Bando, Hendricks. So Japan, Belgium. Rayner gets himself into a good spot. As we go back through the field, saw Fiacconi there as well. So stringing out just a little change from 3rd to 2nd at this stage. And Rayner also makes that move on the back of Hendricks.
Well, you can see that Hendricks, the Belgium athlete, is going to want for a fast time. You come all this way, you want to have a good race while you're out here. Hendricks, of course, has been a representative for Belgium at the Olympics in the 5,000 metres. Ran his personal best last year, 13:14.
So 8 laps to go here, right on 13:20 pace. We go back to the discus.
Final round of the men's discus, and this is the final throw for Matt Denny, the national record holder from Australia. 4th at the World Championships and the Olympic Games, and he would like some support here. Currently in 2nd spot behind the New Zealander Connor Bell, who won this meet last year. 65 metres 18 is the distance that's required. Down the middle, is it long enough? It flies, I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to be enough. In fact, that red flag is nasty. That is bad news. So a foul for Denny. He will finish in 2nd spot with 65.09. Lawrence Okoyo confirmed in 3rd, 60.37. And Connor Bell, the New Zealander record holder for the 2nd year in a row, is going to go home as the champion at the Maurie Plant Meet. He's about to step in the circle for his final attempt. 7 laps to go in the 5,000. Connor Bell, you can see his series put the pressure on early with that 65.18. Seen his teammate Zoe Hobbs and Hamish Kerr collect victories for New Zealand, and he's got a 3rd here, a trio of them for the Kiwis. And Bell just shakes it off before he gets ready to launch. Out it flies, the big platter. It's right on the line. In fact, it's out. So a foul for Bell. He takes the win ahead of Denny and Okoyo in the men's discus.
So not once but twice for Connor Bell here in the last week. That's a great result. Brett Robinson's done a sensational job. So both Ryan Gregson and Brett Robinson have done everything right. The first K was 2:39.3. The second K was 2:39.2. They are smack bang on about a 13:15, 13:20 pace. Hendricks leads in the back straight from Rayner and Ramsden, and then Thomas and Strinsos from Villanova, the Australian that goes to Villanova University, having a great run here, isn't he, Hatu?
He is born and raised in Ethiopia, moved to Australia, and now finds himself in Villanova training under Marcus O'Sullivan there. And at the age of 24, he's a big talent for Australian distance running. But it's all about the 3 athletes out in front at the moment. Hendricks is having to do all the work. Rayner sitting in there nice and comfortably, and Ramsden, which is nice to see, is looking very comfortable. The 26-year-old from Western Australia, 6th at the World Under-20s in 2016, a quality athlete. A lot of people have been waiting for him to make that really big jump up into global success. He's an athlete that a lot of Australians have earmarked for finals. He's been representing Australia for quite a while now, and he's looking like he's coming into the Olympic year in great form.
So that was the slowest of the Ks. That was 2:40, but it's still bang on that 13:20 pace. So Hendricks' fastest time is 13:14. 13:32. He's the Belgium indoor record holder with a slightly slower time. Rayner's run a 13:06. Ramsden's run a 13:16. So they're the three in front. Strinsos behind them's run a 13:45. So he's sort of in new territory and he hasn't been able to get onto the back of them. And sitting just behind him in 5th place is Phillips. So big gaps there.
Big gaps, yeah, certainly. I think, is that Phillips or is it Jude Thomas? It's hard to see.
Could be Jude
It might
Thomas.
be the Australian Jude Thomas. If it is Jude Thomas, it's a 21-year-old who's had a great 2 years transitioning. We'll have a look as we come through.
It is Thomas, yes.
So he's, you know, transitioning to seniors, and he's won 2 national titles in the 3,000 metres, which is a great effort. Now he has to make that bridge, that gap from 3,000 to 5,000 metres, which he's doing pretty well. He's going past have to now, so looking to try and catch up to that lead bunch of 3 that we've got here. Rayner's now hit the front and Ramsden's gone straight with him.
And it's because they've been slowing Tams, and Hendricks had just slowed a little. He's happy for the 2 Australians to take over. Well, Matt Ramsden, you talked about him earlier. One of his problems is he's so talented at so many different distances. So which is the ideal one for him? He's run a 3:34 1500. He's run a 3:51 mile. He's very, very good at that distance and strong at this one as well. Rayner, of course, you talked about his marathon background, his 10,000 metres where he did that in San Juan Capistrano. That meeting's about to take place again in the United States in the next few weeks where they have the fast times. Jack looks good, doesn't he? Leading it out from Matthew and then just in behind them, Robin.
I mean, even in such a quality field, I think the way that Jack Rayner ran that 10,000 metres at the Zatopek and won that national title at the end of last year, he showed that he was in such great shape. I think he would have come into this race expecting to win, so being out there in front wouldn't surprise him, and he's looking really nice off the ground. He's trying to push the tempo. He knows that Matt Ramsden has good speed over the 1,500 metres, like you mentioned, so he doesn't want to leave this to a kick finish, and he's starting to string it out and keep that pressure on, hopefully tax the athletes behind him and take some of that sting, that finishing kick sting out of their legs. But Jack Rayner's really pushing hard now. You can see it across his face, and it is making the other athletes behind him feel the pinch.
So that's slightly the slowest 1K split, but Rayner's really made the gap here, hasn't he? So he's been able to push away from Ramsden, and Hendricks will fancy himself here to go past Ramsden. So Rayner with 2 laps to go here.
I think with that split, what we didn't see was the first part of that K, it really slowed down, and then Jack Rayner came past and he upped the tempo. So he's really pushing away now. Look at the tempo of his legs, the cadence, the leg strides. He's really turning them over really well. We know he's a great 10,000 metre runner. So if you were Matt Ramsden and Hendricks here, you'd be thinking, okay, this is dangerous. He's really moving well.
And that's a 62.2 lap. So they've been trying to run around 64 earlier. They were doing that. So they've picked up the pace. So Rayner is away now by 20 metres over Ramsden and about 5 metres to Hendricks, and then a gap of 70 or 80 metres to Strinsos, and behind him is Thomas. So a long, long gap. You can see Rayner there focused. Ramsden, he's hurting. Of course he's hurting. It's towards the end of a 5,000 metres. His battle now is to hold off Hendricks and to get as close to his personal best as possible. So Jack won't do that tonight. He won't break 13:06, but he's going to come back with a fast time here tonight. He will want to finish this race off really strongly. This has been a good run.
And sometimes it's just about how you feel at this early part of the season. You want to come out of races going, I have more. I felt great. I was awesome in that latter part of the stages of the race. I also was able to compete against some of these quality athletes and really take it to them. So Jack will want a confidence race here, but he'll still want to finish feeling good.
That was slightly slower that lap, so he's on for 13:20. He'll want to get underneath that. Ramsden's just lifted slightly in second placing, and then Hendricks behind him. So Rayner's lead, I think, has been reduced slightly. It's still an unassailable break. You can see it from here. He leads by 15 metres over Ramsden. Great mates, train together so often. And Ramsden holding Hendricks. And Ramsden, I think, thinks to himself, I'm not completely done here. Rayner leads by 10 to 12 metres. Ramsden hasn't given this away. In fact, he's closing and closing quite strongly. The crowd know it. Jack knows it. Matthews a chance. Can you believe it? Rayner straightens up. He goes to the outside lane. He wants no other way, Jack. Look inside. He's holding. He's holding. But Matthews brought out the best in Jack late in the race, and that's what we wanted. Rayner gets the win. Ramsden just misses a personal best, and Hendricks will go back to Belgium as happy as Larry.
Well, absolutely sensational race of cat and mouse a little bit, wasn't it? Great tactics by Jack Rayner. He knew he had to go in that latter phase of the race because he knew that Matt Ramsden had great finishing kick, and he did. He still came back at him. Matt Ramsden will probably look at that and go, should I've gone a bit earlier with him so that I could have put a bit more pressure on him? And that's the beauty of these early races. It's not necessarily about the times that they run. It's about learning those tactics and making sure that you get them right when it counts. But Jack Rayner looks very happy to get that win under his belt.
And to have the confidence to go early, to have the confidence to break them early and really go for it, and that's what he did. So we've seen some great 5,000 metre races tonight, a breakthrough in the women for a couple of Australians, and a very, very exciting, solid race here with some good times to set up an Olympic season on this, the first of the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold meetings in Melbourne. Great way to finish, and I think we're about to go down shortly. But Rayner holding off Ramsden. That was fun at the end, wasn't it? For us at least.
Just looked the wrong way, didn't he?
Let's go down and join Jack Rayner after his win.
Thanks, Bruce. Jack Rayner, you had to work hard for it tonight. You're not unfamiliar with, of course, Matt Ramsden. He came home strong. But that's a good one to open the 2024 year on the way to Paris, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. It's been a couple of months since my last race, so yeah, it's been a bigger gap than I would have liked between racing, but no, good training stint up at Falls Creek. So watching everyone else run before me, win or run PBs, I knew.
Now, you love the track here. You've got, though, a really good range, 5,000 up to the marathon. What is that goal for Paris this year?
With 5 or 10 this year, so something on the track, and then after that, back to the marathon at some stage.
So, Jack, well done. Really big way. What a great way to wrap up the Maurie Plant Meet here in Melbourne. It's the part of that gold tour nationwide. Tell us how happy you are to have the Victorian fans out there.
Oh, stoked. Like, yeah, the support the whole way around, yeah, it means a lot. So appreciate everyone. Cheers.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Rayner winning the 5,000 metres.
Focus on knowing exactly where he's going in this Olympic year. The meet record was Bernard Lang out of Kenya at 13.8.43. So you can see this is a quality time. Ramsden not far outside his personal best at, a second outside, less than a second, and Hendricks has had a really good start to his season down below. McEntee back and forth. Thomas gets that personal best. Some good times, as we saw with the women all the way through.
Well, Sam McEntee, an Olympian in 2016, so great to see him back. Fabulous racing. The Australians have come out for this Maurie Plant Meet and will be very happy and buoyed by their results leading into what is going to be a great season, not just for the Australians, but for the international athletes.
So let's go back to the women's discus.
Final round of the women's discus. Currently in third spot, Samantha Hall of Jamaica. 57.27. The best result so far came in the opening round, but had a lot of fouls from Samantha Hall after that, the Pan American bronze medalist. And that one slips out of the hand. More action on the ground than in the air for the platter. So she will stay in third spot. Jade Lally into the circle. 36-year-old now from Great Britain. Olympic Games representative in Rio. Two-time Commonwealth Games medalist. So she's in second spot. Needs 61.57. It would be a big improvement. Goes high and comes down with not enough forward momentum to get to the 60-metre mark. So Lally will finish in second spot. Look forward to seeing her throughout the rest of the Australian summer. And here is the winner of the women's discus, a celebratory final round throw for Daisy Osakui of Italy. World University Games gold medalist in 2019, a national record holder. She's been tremendous tonight. 61.57 in the opening round. fast across the circle, and that's another good throw. In fact, that's going to be a really good throw. The red flag went up, it was a foul. So Osakui, 61.57, wins the women's discus.
So winners are smilers, aren't they? Jack Rayner, such a popular figure in Australia, and winning the 5,000 metres tonight. It's been a fantastic night of athletics. Tamsin and Dave.
Just one final result. Chris Matreski gets the win in the long jump, 7.96, and the crowd just under 6,000. So Maurie he'd be satisfied with that.
What a great start, Tamsin, to the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Series.
Fantastic start for the Gold Series, and we're on to Botswana after this, and another 11 meets to come. That'll be brilliant.
So a couple of meet records tonight, Rose Davies and Nicola Olaschlager's a dramatic performance by Claudia Hollingsworth. Some great racing and a mile for the ages. So the gold moves on to Botswana on April the 14th as World Athletics makes its way towards the Olympics. Thank you.
One pharmacy group has voluntarily passed on the full $1 prescription discount to all eligible patients on all concessional scripts.
And we will continue to stand by our commitment to make healthcare more affordable for all Australians. So every Australian pensioner, veteran or concession card holder saves $1 off their prescription. That's added up to an incredible $100 million. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
Discounting prescriptions in every store, every day.